the other information that that Kohberger's job looked like it was in trouble. They had some screenshots. The police officers had screenshots from text messages between two of the Washington State University professors.
Yeah, and we had heard rumblings that he had issues, obviously, when he was the TA there, and issues with students and other professors, and he, wasn't keeping his job. I want to read you this text message, though. This is what, we've never seen this before. This is one professor writing this to another professor. We need to do an intervention with Kohberger. She is going to try to gather information, but apparently he's offended several of our female students, which again goes back to some of our reporting from early on when we were at the school talking to people, that he had issues with the female students.
Right, and also in those documents, apparently a female student at his college, WSU, said that she saw photos of herself and of her friends on his phone on the Dateline documentary. So they didn't even know that they were on his phone until they saw the Dateline documentary. But she says she said Bryan Kohberger used to sit close to her in class when he showed up for class, often late. Let me move to the stalking issue, because we all assumed that the investigators would tell us that Bryan Kohberger stalked one or more of these kids at 1122 King Road, but it turns out he just might be bizarre. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. There's reports that there were people in the woods, that the kids at 1122 saw strange figures in the woods, that Murphy the dog would go running to the woods and wouldn't come back quite often. But then there's this discussion about a woman who talked to the police about being matched with Kohberger on Tinder.
Yeah, and this was kind of crazy. You're right, though. We don't have any proof from police that he was stalking them. He may have been, but the police never had any evidence. We asked specifically about that today. But this is the woman who matched with him on Tinder, and I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. She says that she was talking about horror movies with Kohberger. He asked her what she thought would be the worst way to die, and she said with a knife. And then Kohberger asked her to do something to the effect of, he said something like a K-bar, which we all know what that means. I mean, K-bar knife is the knife he used to kill these 4 kids, the knife sheath they found in the house. She said she didn't know what that was. She had to Google it. She stopped talking to him because he weirded her out, which, yeah, I mean, I think that would weird anybody out. And I can only imagine what she's thinking now, knowing all the details of everything that went down.
Well, and honestly, who knows? Who knows if he stalked her, if he was thinking about her as a target before he ultimately chose these kids at 1122 King. There was also some investigation that went on at the Latah County Jail. They started asking other inmates there questions about their fellow inmate. And a guy who, I guess, had one of the cells close by in Latah, from August 24 to September 24, he had some observations. What did the police officers reveal today about that?
Yeah, so the inmate said that Kohberger, and I'm going to read this again because this is from the police report, said that Kohberger was the smartest person he encountered in jail, but that he became annoying. Kohberger would wash his hands dozens of times a day. He was a germaphobe, so that's not a shock. Spent an hour in the shower. Said Kohberger would be up all night. He could hear Kohberger moving around at night, and says that Kohberger would take a nap during the day. And, it's interesting that they went back and talked to some of these inmates, because when I was in the prison yesterday, you mentioned at the top of the show, they've now moved Kohberger into the Idaho prison system. What they told me yesterday is they are going to go through all of the electronic communications of prisoners in the system that he may be around to see who has been talking about him. And that's how they're going to determine what block he may go into, even though he's likely going to be in isolation, which I found very interesting. They can actually search through all of the communication that the prisoners have been having with family and such and see who seems to be the most interested in Kohberger.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.